A nation divided tried to bring back a true culture which was once known as Kamandra. But when one artifact goes to the length to leave so many to suffer, can the power of one dragon really save the entire world and learn to have people trust each other again? This is my review to ask that question of Raya and the Last Dragon. Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Lazy Cinema. I'm your host, Lazy Universe, and today we are talking about the movie that was released on Disney Plus, known as Raya and the Last Dragon. And definitely I have to say, this is completely a great movie, and especially that this came out at the same time Disney released the live action Mulan. It is not so difficult to see why this one was a classic and the live action Mulan was basically almost banned from movie theaters. The movie stars a woman named Raya who suddenly loses not just her clan but also her father as well to these mythical creatures called Droon after the last dragon, Sisu, voiced by Aquafina, becomes gone from the world and is brought back. But as she is back, she is trying to reunite the world for the mythical commander and also trying to teach people once again that they can indeed trust each other. And I gotta say, first of all, the animation in this movie is just beautifully put together. There are some spots that is very, very much noticeable to that it is not so spot on, especially during the beginning. I noticed some like animation fluxes where they look almost plasticky, like almost action figure. But for the rest and the remainder of the film, the animation flew so much more better. I don't know if that was intentional or maybe it's because this was the first time that they used the type of animation style. It just, to me, kind of feels like maybe something has happened behind the scenes because it was only during the beginning where I noticed it, but other than that, it was flawless. The voice cast in this is really superb, especially Kelly Marie Tran, who voices Rhea, does a tremendous job, and I can definitely see a lot of good things to come from this young woman. The way how she played Rhea reminds me a lot of the voice actress that voiced Mulan in the cartoon. A lot of inspiration is really drawn from that. And, giving her that tough but determined kind of voice, but also very undecisive voice, must have been tough for her, but she pulled it off very well. And having the comedian Aquafina voice Sisu, she really sold that performance, and I thought at first, because of the way that her voice sounded, I thought at first that this was one of my favorite actresses, Cree Summers, and it wasn't much to my surprise. Aquafina does a great job pulling off Sisu or Sisu Sisu Chun. I forget the entire Sisu Sisu Chitura, I think that's how you pronounce her actual name, but she does a very unique job at voicing Sisu and really gave her character much more than I think any other voice actor probably would have given to her. And the fact that these people have broken over her priceless soul or gem was a definite thing that did happen in this film. And what really caused it was the fact that it's just basically greed. It's showing us like the horrors of greed. What happens if I'm too greedy? This is exactly the type of film that shows you what is the price of greed. And most definitely, it really showed us how much that trust can really build and bond a friendship more than anything. And that's what really showed off in this film. And I am a sucker for eye candy. Now, compared to my last review, which was Onward, this film has a lot of eye candy. I don't know if that was intentional, but there are a lot of scenes that is beautifully animated. One of my favorites, because I'm a sucker for it, was the underwater sequence where Sisu is swimming through the sea because she is known as the water dragon, and it is really beautiful. And above all that, the creature designs were very, very well handled. I love how not only Sisu but the other dragons in this film do not look the same. They all have their own unique design, their own unique take on their characters, and that kind of also reminds me of some of like now, cannot compare to back then, but now with the trend of the My Little Ponies, how they look so differently apart from each other compared to probably if you saw them back during the 1980s. This is something that is very well seen throughout the entirety of this film, not just, during just when Sisu is introduced, but as well as the creature like Tuk Tuk. Tuk Tuk is this roly-poly bug slash armadillo type of creature, and he is probably the cutest thing about the film. And when I first saw him introduced in the beginning, I actually squealed because of how adorable that he looked. And above all, the Droon, the villains of this story, really do encapture like this non-knowing entity, and really reminds me of the unknown from Pokemon the movie 2000. Is it with the unknown? But it really doesn't capture what this creature looks like, and that is above all probably the best thing about it. That this is the unknown creature that can take away your soul and turn you into stone, which is great. And again, the voice cast is really well done, including bringing back Benedict Wong, who I have talked about in the Gemini Man review, also being from Doctor Strange and also had a brief cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home, has a brilliant performance at Ton, a guy who lost his family, and when you suddenly realize that for this character that he does not want to do harm, but instead wants to heal the world, it's really heartfelt, and they don't push in that border too far. This movie uses their time very, very well done, especially for the intro, which was about 22 minutes long. They did so greatly. I didn't even know how much time had passed. I thought that was very well done of a scene for them, especially for Raya, who had all the character performances. And again, with Karen, she did a great job showing us this great character, but who also is flawed. She is someone who wants to have friendships. She's somebody who wants to heal the world, but she's someone who also had that disband of trust, and that's what this film is mostly kind of pointing to. Is for her to start trusting people again, especially with the character of Namura. Now, especially how they brought Namura onto it and whatnot, and especially what happened during the beginning was really that sort of like kick in the ass, because I thought that this was going to be a sweet friendship that these two would build up and maybe they'd have to save the world together, and that is not what happened. But that did not disband me from watching this movie. I still held on, and I was still into the movie, and the fact that these people would all turn on one another just so that way there that they could have the dragon gem, and the dragon herself was really superb. And I gotta say, I know that Aquafina was last seen in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, which reminds me I might have to pick up that movie at some point. Um, Nonetheless, she always talks about in interviews how she's closely related to her grandmother, and she, I think, really uses that, or how her grandmother raised her, I mean, and I think she really uses that how you would think. Like, she really thinks, like, okay, I'm alone in this world, but she had her grandmother who practically raised her from a young age into her adult life, and she really uses that for the character of Sisu. I really felt that it was Aquafina speaking through this very fluffy pink and blue dragon, and I really love that. This is a quality for Disney film. Of course, the animation at points can seem a little bit like too plasticky and not flow together, but they do a very good job pulling it through in the end. For Don Hall and for Carlos, I can't remember the full name, but I do remember that Estrada was at the end of it. I think it was Carlos Pena Estrada. Do a great job showing off what exactly can be done for a Disney movie, and this has all the great qualities. A great story, beautiful animation, beautiful backgrounds and backdrop to it. There were at points where I just like examined the backdrop because of how beautiful of a movie it looked. And to note that this beat live action Mulan is really saying something, but you can see the inspiration from Mulan brought into this film. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because as Mulan is one of my favorite Disney films back when I was a kid, especially till now, this one it sits high up there and it's definitely one of my favorite films I've seen this year. And if you haven't picked up Raya and the Last Dragon for your kids or for your grandchildren, nieces and nephews, do it. You will not be disappointed. This will be a film they will cherish and a film that you will cherish along with them. So, why don't we all unleash some dragons and start saving the world and unite our Kumandra ourselves by liking the video, sharing it around the internet, also by subscribing and commenting down below. Did you enjoy Raya and the Last Dragon? Let me know. Maybe we can have a conversation about it. Also, check it out if you haven't already. Be sure to follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and maybe this is what the world could need. It's a little Kumandra ourselves to unite the world as it is right now, because even for Walt Disney picture standards, it does show us how in the world right now we are broken and hopefully at some point can come together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Lady Universe, this was Lady Cinema, and I'll see you next time.